Tonight, a grieving Palestinian-American mother is recovering in a hospital outside of Chicago, and her 6-year-old son has been laid to rest. Both were attacked in a brutal stabbing at their home, allegedly targeted for being Muslim. Authorities have arrested their 71-year-old landlord, Joseph Suba. You see him on the screen. And the DOJ has opened a federal hate crime investigation. Wadia's great uncle, Mahmoud Yusuf, joins me along with the executive director of Chicago's chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, Ahmed Rehab. Thank you so much for joining us, both of you, today. Mahmoud, I want to begin with you, and I honestly cannot express how sorry I am to be meeting you this way. I want to begin by asking you about Wadia. Tell me about this little boy, just 6 years old, a kindergartner.
Yes, he is. He's a kindergartner, 6-year-old, just like any other 6-year-old. He was a lot of fun, exciting. He likes to laugh. He has a lot of friends, and yesterday we were talking about with the family, and they do miss him already. He had, we were looking just like for his future, and unfortunately it was taken very early.
How is your family coping? His mother in particular, any idea of how she is doing right now?
Until now, we have no idea how is she right now. They're not letting us talk to her or see her or even visit her. Up to this point, we're trying, but they told us we have to wait. I'm here today because his father, he couldn't make it because until now, he's still in disbelief of what just happened. So it's not easy.
It's not easy. I mean, Ahmed, why would it be that they could not speak to his mother? Do you have any idea?
Well, she was stabbed 12 times. This was a brutal and heinous attack. She was stabbed 12 times. The little boy was stabbed 26 times. The 12-inch knife was still in his abdomen when he was taken for an autopsy. She was stabbed in the face, in the cheek. She can't talk. She is in severe distress emotionally, of course, with the trauma that she experienced. So it's perhaps the hospital wants her to be protected from the interest of the public. We're still trying to get in contact.
That's what you describe as truly heinous and unbelievable to think that that has happened to anyone, let alone a child or his mother. Let me ask you, I mean, the war is now in the Middle East, and yet there is a victim, at least two, this little boy, his mother, of course, here in America. We are seeing repercussions here. What does that feel like?
Absolutely. It feels really frustrating and painful. And this is a conversation we're just going to have. I mean, there's a cognitive dissonance that we're experiencing here. Ironically, just before this segment discussing the brutalizing of this family, there was a segment discussing the potential imminent threat from the Muslim community. And it's reports like that this evil man was watching, and he got radicalized by the coverage of the media that has been consistently lopsided and one-sided, not unlike, frankly, what I'm seeing on CNN and other networks, statements from politicians. And this caused this man who otherwise had been normal, he had built a treehouse for the boy, he had brought him toys, to flip, become radicalized, become a monster, and stab them to death that many times because he thought they were a threat. So I think we need to not dissociate how we talk about the issues, how we dehumanize Palestinians, how we erase their suffering from how certain people flip and radicalize and commit these crimes.
I think your point is certainly not lost on me, and particularly the way that we speak about, in a detached way it might appear. I assure you that that's not how I view it. I wonder, Mahmoud, and for you in particular as well, hearing about this as it's described, thinking about how people are becoming responsive to and reactive to things they may be hearing in different outlets. What is the way to stop it? What is the way that you want to see things done? This should not have happened to this little boy.
For the last couple of days, we've been going around. Like I was in Plainfield yesterday, and we were talking about this issue. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they have like a phobia, or they have some certain type of phobia from Muslims. When they look at them, they look at them as monsters, or as described overseas as animals. I think it starts with the leaders of our country. When they hear something like, let's say, some type of news, don't just come say it before you make sure where this news is coming from and if it's even true or not. This type of information, when you give to somebody, like this gentleman here, like we said just a while ago, just like Ahmed said, he was a normal person. There was no problem with him. He loved the kid, and suddenly he just switched because of what he hears from the news. And most of the things that he hears, unfortunately, is not even true. That's where we have to start. And we have to start with the community. The community, unfortunately, they are very judgmental sometimes. Why don't you just ask if you fear something? Why don't you ask? I know a lot of people out there, their neighbors are Muslims, and they're very good friends. I mean, I have a lot of neighbors. We are on very perfect terms. And the reason is we ask, we communicate.
You know, we haven't had as many cases at Care Chicago the way we're having now as we had since 9/11. I mean, these are the most number of cases we've had in terms of hate incidents, women being attacked at Burger Kings and at McDonald's and at grocery shops and at, gas stations. This incident was obviously unique in how brutal it was, but there are many incidents that we're not talking about that are happening as a result of the atmosphere that we are in. I think we can all agree that we stand against any atrocious acts against civilians, Israeli or Palestinian.
Yeah.
That's something that we can agree on. But as much as we can collectively condemn terrorism, we must collectively condemn war crimes, shutting off of water, electricity, food, bombing of hospitals. And I know there's all this back and forth about who did it, but we've seen many hospitals bombed before in Gaza and other places. We need to be brave enough and courageous enough to have these real conversations and humanize both sides. We don't need to demonize one side or another. Humans are humans. They have their good, their bad, they have their shortcomings. We need to have an adult conversation. We have a cartoonish atmosphere right now in which we demonize an entire population and make them ripe for the killing.
You know what, both of
unfortunately,
you.
right now, there's a lot of families that are not taking this.
Oh, no, I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead. Your point is taken. I just wanted to reiterate that I really do hear you. And I think tonight is an opportunity for us to expand beyond the conversations that have been happening. And we are going to have that conversation tonight in particular.
Thank
and
you,
I'm
Laura.
glad we're actually
You've given us a
break.
platform to be able to share our feelings,
Yeah.
and we appreciate you.
Well, I'm glad that you came. Your insight and story is important, and I'm glad that you told us about, sadly, the other incidents that have been going on. Thank you to you both, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the recovery of this young woman who's lost her son. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, he hit the nail on the head in terms of how a lot of us are struggling to find ways to talk about what's happening in the Middle East and how it's being said and what the focus is, and whether it's demonization or information. How does it all come out? I'm going to speak with a rabbi and an imam right here in studio.